Thank you everyone for coming to this event today to discuss the security situation and problems, issues faced by the people in South Asia and particularly Balochistan. As many of you know, Balochistan has been, the people in Balochistan have suffered since the past 65 years, since the creation of Pakistan and the forced organization of Balochistan itself. And over these years, there have been a number of military operations going on against these people. I'd like to thank the UNPO, the Royal Society, and all of you for coming in today and showing interest in today's debate. Today we'll be discussing all the problems that are faced by the people of that region and how it affects regional and global security, as things in that region have always had serious implications regionally and also internationally. So it is very important that we discuss these issues at this critical juncture. I would like to ask Mr. Balochistan, the Secretary General of UNPO, to say a few words.
Yes, I am really proud to be here today. It seems to be a very good event. We received just now news that the Right Honorable Dana Robacher, member of the American Congress, will join us later around 1 o'clock to address informally the conference. First of all, I want to start and say on behalf of UNPO, I would like to thank you all for being present at this timely event and convey to you all the support and solidarity by the other 45 UNPO members. It is part of UNPO raison d'être to host events such as this one. Unrepresented Nation and People's Organization is an international, non-violent and democratic membership organization who are committed to offering an increasing number of nations and peoples an entry point on the map of international forum of institutional organizations and parliaments. Today, the role of Balochistan and issues related to it are largely underestimated and evaluated in the regional context of the heart of South Asia. Balochistan needs to be considered as it serves as a central issue in the current transitional moment in South Asia and Pakistan. Questions related to stability and security in the region cannot be taken without taking a new perspective for Balochistan and without using a global approach. The curse of colonialism led Balochistan from independence to being divided and ruled by others up until today. The plight of the Baloch in their plans for self-determination as enshrined in the UN Charter has been met by fierce opposition and repression from Pakistan and on the other side of the border by Iranian authorities, leading to human rights abuses being committed by states, military and paramilitary groups. Accounts of mass displacement, killings and forced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and the indiscriminate use of torture are plenty. Gross human rights violations in Pakistan are also growing because of a general lack of initiative and action by the international community and organization. This tolerance and passive approach is wrong. Peace, stability, and the end of terrorism cannot be achieved at the cost of sacrifice of human beings, human rights, and mosques. With a soil rich in minerals, oil and gas, a prime location at the heart of South Asia, and a maritime border of more than 400 kilometers on the Arabian Sea and Gulf of Oman, it comes as no surprise that Balochistan is the epicenter of an international power game involving Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, Iran, China, the United States and Russia, who are all playing a delicate balancing act in the region, while exposing vested interests in the Balochistan. China, in particular, with its growing economical, political and military aggressiveness in the region, need to be balanced. The war in Afghanistan had a decisive influence on Balochistan. It led to an influx of Taliban extremists who have wreaked havoc on the region. Moreover, the war fueled sectarianism and displaced thousands of people in search of a safe haven. In his annual State of the Union address to the American Congress, President Obama stated that the war in Afghanistan will be over by late 2014. It is clear that the withdrawal of USA troops implies that the Afghan war will be over for the Americans. What yet remains to be seen is what influence this withdrawal will have on Afghanistan and the wider region, especially with regard to security and stability. Under Pakistan's current system, Balochistan is unlikely to receive the policy attention it deserves. It has too little political representation and too few domestic allies to sustain an agenda that could resolve the various conflicts in the region. After plenty of breaches of treaties and deals by the Pakistan government, trust no longer characterizes the negotiation for the Baloch people. International attention and support is therefore required to solve this ongoing conflict that so far has only been met by violent means. There is a need for a change in politics in Europe and in the USA and in Asia as well. What is happening in Afghanistan and in Pakistan is from time no longer only a regional issue, but a global one, and so need to be tackled and solved. I am certain that today's speakers will expand on the need for further international pressure and action in order for the Baloch people to forge a fair and common future in Balochistan, in the perspective to restore the undeniable rights of the Baloch people. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. As Mr. Balochistan mentioned, that the problem of is not a regional issue and demands international attention. It is yet difficult to understand why Balochistan, which straddles across 3 countries that are the focus of the foreign policy of international superpowers, has still failed to receive that attention that it requires, whereas Afghanistan and Pakistan and Iran are all at the focused by the US and other Western countries. So it is important for these countries to see the problems taking place and how they implicate the situation in neighboring Afghanistan. As Mr. Balochistan mentioned, that in 2014, after the pull-out from Afghanistan, it is to be seen what will be left for the people of Balochistan and what will be left for the ordinary people of this region. We believe that in order to have some sort of effective and long-lasting peace, security, and stability in the region, it is extremely important for the Baloch issue to be given the due attention. I would now like to ask Mr. Polak Saka. He is the head of the South Asia Democratic Forum and a former MEP. He's the founder and executive of the South Asia Democratic Forum, a founder of the International Cooperation Association registered in Brussels, ARC Humankind. And I'd like to thank him for coming here today. He's traveled from Brussels to be with us today, and we really appreciate it. Sarkar, please, if you would like to say a few words.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mengal. Let me first say how honored I am to be here among you. How honored I am to have been invited by the Unrepresented Nations and Peoples Organizations, UNPO, which is an organization I have been in touch for quite some time, since I was a member of the European Parliament. Thank you very much for Mr. Mengal's introduction. For those of you who do not know me, let me expand a bit what was said about my organization and my presence. South Asia Democratic Forum was launched, well, actually less than 2 years ago, as a political dialogue platform. It is now a think tank. We have well, dozens of experts on South Asia. Our main aim, as the name of the organization indicates, is to reinforce all the factors that can lead to the strengthening of democratic structures in the whole of South Asia. Well, South Asia here, we understand it as those countries that are members of the South Asia Association for Regional Cooperation. So this concept of South Asia does not really cover Iran. Iran is considered in by several organizations, even within the United Nations, to be part of South Asia, but South Asia Democratic Forum as such does not address Iran. But it is needless to say that the main issues that are confronting the whole of South Asia, and in my opinion, the big problem of South Asia is the existence of an ideology, a totalitarian ideology that thinks that certain readings of religions must be considered to be the source of power, and must be and all political establishment must be read according to these readings of certain religious readings in the region. Pakistan, from the start, was an attempt to put together a secular structure with a Muslim tradition and the Muslim culture and the Muslim religion. So many years afterwards, I think that this attempt that was probably done in a sincere way by many, and starting with its founder, did not really come up to the challenge. More and more, this country is trying to hide its failures behind a totalitarian ideology of a reading of a religion that excludes the others. We have more and more a sectarian policy in either religious or ethnic and linguistic terms. The West has tremendous responsibilities in the way that it developed that way. Pakistan is in our day the country that has by far the biggest support from either the United States or Europe. conditions to Pakistan that are unmatched wherever in the region, either in trade terms or in assistance to development. But what does Europe and what does the West get from it? What are the results that the West is expecting? It is absolutely clear after the catching of Bin Laden in Pakistan and the subsequent reactions that Pakistan was never a country that really wanted to persecute Al-Qaeda, and up to the end it sheltered the main symbol of terrorism in the world, who is Osama bin Laden. Even after he was killed, Pakistan did not even try to pretend that it was being hidden against its will, because there is not a single persecution, a single process launched to whoever was responsible for sheltering Osama bin Laden. On the contrary, as you know, those who were identified as having allowed his capture have been persecuted, and namely a doctor is now experiencing a sentence of a very heavy prison sentence. And this could not be more telling of where the Pakistan state is standing. It is obviously standing by terrorism. Of course, that some of the times when you create some monsters, in the end you do not control them anymore. And this has been the case in Pakistan, where obviously terrorism got out of hand, is going in every direction, and a lot of it turned against the structures of Pakistan state itself. But the truth is that Pakistan believes that terrorism is a good weapon, is a good way to sort out the issues, either with neighbors or within its own borders. And it shows this in the most obvious way that nobody can stop to see, even only if you just turn your head the other way, you do not see it. And behind this terrorist policy, there is a reading that is ingrained in education. What we are seeing right now, and the South Asia Democratic Forum launched last month's roundtable on education in Pakistan, and actually there is this idea that the madrasas and the lack of control of madrasas could be the problem in the educational system in Pakistan. This is not true. The national literature, the national textbooks are inspiring hate everywhere, from teaching A to Z. All the words, all the meanings are of jihadi related, hate related towards those who are considered to be infidels. The history of Pakistan is completely twisted into showing whoever what is seen as a Muslim warrior that smashed the others to be fantastic, the hero, and all others that either are not Muslims, or even those who are Muslims that behaved in a tolerant way are portrayed to be very, very negative figures. This is a situation that is intolerable, that of course is making life impossible for Balochistan. Balochistan has been perhaps the most important victim of this policy. That's where the kill and ban policy of the secret services of Pakistan is having the biggest impact. Balochis are finding day by day their relatives, their friends, killed and dumped somewhere along the country, or sometimes out of Balochistan in some other areas. Balochistan has been experiencing a lot of terrorist groups that ultimately want to destroy, to corrode the national cohesion of Balochis, and what was done in Quetta against the Hazara community very recently, it's a very, very sad symbol of this. Of course, nothing of this will conduct to any sort of stability, to any sort of peace and security, whether for the Balochis, of course, for Pakistan as a whole, for the region, and for the whole world at large. Because the West seems not to have understood, even after September 11, that this sort of attitudes, this sort of ideologies, cannot be contained in a region. They will obviously spread everywhere. But the West did not understand September 11. It shows every time it does not understand. Even France, for instance. France in December tried to make an appeasement with the Taliban from Afghanistan. They were invited to the nicest castles surrounding Paris to get to terms with France. And next month, France was attacking the radical Al-Qaeda groups in Mali. Like it would be possible, you know, to combat fanaticism in Mali and make friendship with fanaticism in Afghanistan, as if the world would not be global. This is so obvious to whoever looks at the world, but our Western leaders did not understand it. They can't see behind their very focused interest. They understood, well, the French authorities finally understood when their military assistants came to them and said, well, listen, if you do not stop them right now in Mali, they will overrun the country. And after Mali, they won't stop there, of course. And that's going to be a problem. And they were able to act, but they are not able to understand that this is a global phenomenon, a global ideology, an ideology, fanatic ideology, that is built on concepts of hate, and it will never stop if we do not question it. And of course, Balochistan has not only the unhappy reality of being colonized by a country that is really one of the worst disrespecters of human rights, but as another one, Iran, that is certainly not better, in my personal opinion, much worse dictatorship, and much more dangerous to the whole of the world. And regarding Iran, I think it is really a long time that the West should have made things clear regarding the respect of national minorities. Iran is a very diverse country, as many others, many of its neighbors, and of course one of the things that this totalitarian ideology does not allow is to national sentiments. And the West should make very clear that the respect of national minorities, languages, cultures, religions has to be the cornerstone of its policy regarding Iran. And I think that the message should be clear, clearly going to the Balochi nationalists in Iran, that the West is prepared to engage with them. That's what I think we should be doing. Just to, I know I am overextending my words, but just to make a final comment, there is a very interesting book. I am just in the middle of reading it. Back to the Future, the Kanat of Kalat and the Genesis of Baloch Nationalism, from Martin Axman, who used to be the representative of Jens Seidel Stiftung in Islamabad till he was compelled to run away from there. He's a very, very brilliant academic, and I think I am learning a lot from the Baloch nationality. But what is he saying as a title? Back to the Future. I think it's the most telling thing we could have on the Baluchi issue. We are coming back to the future. That is the Baluchi national uprising. I think it's going to be inevitable. And the question is, are we going to have a second Bangladesh or not? And this is a big question, and answers, of course, are not easy to come by. I would like to say that some of the differences are obvious. The Bangladeshis, of course, Bangladesh itself is 99% Bangladeshi. It's far from being the case in Balochistan. Besides that, there are loads of Baluchis that are out of the Balochistan, the province of Balochistan proper. So this would make a tremendous difference to start with. But the issue is that the Pakistan and the world learned nothing from what was done in 1971. We did learn nothing. And who does not learn with its errors, it's bound to repeat them. It's an old saying, but I think it applies. I think we are heading for a very big confrontation in Balochistan. I think the West should be prepared and should be clear on its principles, should abandon the policy of appeasement when not friending with all sorts of fanatics. This policy led to September 11, led to terrorism all over, and it will continue to do so if we do not change the perception of what we have to do in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kasaka, for your insightful views. As Mr. Kasaka mentioned, that it is very it is to be seen that what has been achieved over these last 10 years, billions of dollars that have been put into this war against terror, and billions of dollars that have been provided to the Pakistani military to assist in this war. What has the West genuinely achieved from this? 10 years later, we still find religious extremism growing. We have sectarian violence at its peak. The problems have not decreased, but they have increased significantly over the years. And this clearly means that there must be a change in policy on behalf of the West. And how genuinely has Pakistan been an ally in the war against terror? I believe that can be clearly demonstrated by what happened on the 2nd of May 2011, when Osama bin Laden was found in Abbottabad, and as Mr. Kasaka described it, as a symbol of terrorism. So a country that has been provided billions of dollars has the resources, has the means to abduct and hundreds and tens of thousands of Baloch all over Balochistan, which is a much vast region, nearly 50% of Pakistan's landmass, and they can target and kill anyone that it believes is stands against it, or those people who are asking for the right. They have all the resources to counter the Baloch, but someone right next to what is described as Pakistan's West Point could not be discovered for 7 years. And then we have the case of Pakistan halting NATO supplies, the treatment made out to Dr. Shakil Afridi, who in the finding of Osama bin Laden. So these questions should be, the West should ask itself this question: how genuine of an ally has Pakistan been? And if it hasn't, then what is the other option? I would like to thank Mr. Marina Bustichin and Mr. Paul Kasaka for their